Okay, it is Friday at the end of week 3, starting into week 4, and I wanted to give everyone, meaning those that have been in the classroom and a few of you that are taking this mostly in the online mode, a update about what week 4 is going to look like and really just some suggestions that I feel like have been really well received by both me and the students in the classroom about how the before classwork has been doing. And really the idea of before classwork was to give a restricted amount of time to get the work done. And because week 4 is what I've been terming a level up week, I'm going to remove the time restriction of only 50 minutes, but I'm not going to change the due dates themselves. So homework is still due before the start of the face-to-face class, and the classwork is due at the end. But you can obviously, in this case, if it's not obvious to you, you can start homework. The sooner you start and complete homework, the more time you'll have to do classwork. So it's still prerequisite, which means you can't get into the next one until you finish these in sequence. So that's still enforced, but the whole before classwork, which many of you figured out, and I did afterwards, that it wasn't working the way I had intended it, which means probably for week 5 we will have another video because we were discussing in class yesterday about if we were going to how we were going to handle it after this week, right? So there's two things: dropping the time restriction and doing a level up that's happening in week 4, and leveling up on CSS using a CSS layout, and I talk about that in the first video here, which I recommend watching at any point before you start into this, because even if you haven't completed the homework, hopefully you know, and many of you have already done this, that I'm on my YouTube channel. I have a playlist for this class, right? So if you don't already go there, you can just search for Rio Waller on YouTube, and then there's a playlist for CIT 93 client side, and so both of those videos are there. Okay, so just wanted to give you the heads up about that. And what I'm considering, I'd mentioned yesterday and just briefly at the end of the class, was that at the end of the class period, right before we end, we'd do a code review. So we would look at the code that was due that day, right? So we could just talk about the different approaches people may have taken to get the work done or things that would need clarifying. So we will end up spending the last 15 minutes of the class talking about the code review. That's at least my intention. And then we'll see how week 5 does. And week 4, the first day of classwork, day 7, which is in our new format, so you'll learn about that here as well. But day 8 has got the written instructions right now, but it does not have a video. And my plan is to create a video for this over this 3-day weekend, right? So hopefully you're all excited that we have a 3-day weekend, and that, you know, because we don't have due dates. Let me just change real quick here to 93, right? So because our due dates are Tuesday and Thursday, that doesn't really affect us, but just FYI, right? Any of your other classes. So for us, our due dates are not changed except in the terms that I spoke about that before. And then the last thing I'll say here is that for those of you taking this online, if you've been watching, because I'm pretty sure I mentioned to everyone that JavaScript, the Weird Parts, was available for the first 3 hours on YouTube. But if you haven't purchased the whole thing, up in questions, Patrick, who's awesome in our class, everyone is awesome, including him, posted a code that I'm not going to show in here, but if you want to go find it, just look for Patrick's post on a code that you can get JavaScript, the Weird Parts, discounted even more. Okay. All right. So check that out. And then I will see you on Tuesday or online, whichever way that works. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves.